Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and this is kind of a tough story to even talk about. I got to admit, I was taken aback by this. I was not prepared for this story. I was going through the news, and when I saw it, I literally had to do a double take and make sure that the headline was correct and read through it. And we're here. The slippery slope is over. In the Netherlands, okay? They made this legal in 2014 after a long debate, but they're euthanizing children. I'm sorry, I'm a little silent here. They're euthanizing children. Now, this girl has a very, very tough story, but she was 17 years old. How are they allowing, how did her parents allow her to make this decision to just give up on life? Now, it looks like, again, she was a victim of abuse, and I am not trying to downplay mental health at all, not even in the slightest. But the idea that we have now allowed ourselves to give up on other human beings, not only because of reprehensible physical health, in other words, just constant physical pain that you can't get on, or that type of trauma, or, losing motor function, somebody from the neck down possibly paralyzed. All of this has been talked about and discussed, and the elderly, whether they should be able to take their own life. Well, now we have a girl who was 17 and depressed and suffered from PTSD, and she gave a final farewell on Instagram as if this was okay. And I am taken aback. I do not approve of this. I think this is nuts. When I was a kid, the main debate, at least in this country, was a guy named Jack Kevorkian that was going around and breaking the law and doing this with elderly patients that were basically in just complete, physical harm. And he's portrayed as a hero. And you see that and you say, if I were to be laid up like that, if I was in constant pain, I'd want somebody to do the same thing. And that may or may not be true. I understand where people are coming from on that angle. Again, this girl was physically fit. She was 17 years old. But then you look at the type of things that Kevorkian was into in his personal life, and you can do this too, and simply just type in Kevorkian artwork. And there's plenty of cannibalism. I believe there's one with a baby somewhere. A lot of very, very disturbing imagery. I mean, take a look at this stuff. Skulls everywhere. And, I wear T-shirts with skulls and religious regalia and that type of design. But I'm certainly not making artwork constantly that is depicting human body parts, needles in people's arms, demons, beheadings, screaming humans that look like something off of a Tool album. You've already seen the Hitler in the White House. And listen, art is art, and we should be able to express ourselves. That's not what I'm saying. Here we have probably like an Easter representation mocking Jesus in a lot of ways right here. But some really disturbing artwork that, in my mind, if this is what's in this guy's head, should we be trusting him to take the lives of others? And in recent years, they've made euthanasia even sexier. Look at this machine. The suicide machine. It looks like something out of a space capsule, like you're going to Mars, and don't worry, you're just resting. And we've made it sleek in design that you can just take your own life. But now, very much so, we're now taking the lives of grown adult teenagers, not because they've lost motor functions, not because they're in severe physical pain or trauma, but because they suffer from PTSD. First of all, I want to talk to all you people out there that are extremely depressed, or things might not be going your way, or even, have had something so traumatic happen to them that it's something you think about every day, and it absolutely defines your life. It takes hold of you. That can be temporary. You can work past that. You may not be able to work all the way past that, but I want you to think for a moment. Think about how all the refugees in Middle Eastern countries feel that have lost their siblings, their parents, that have grown up on the streets, many of whom have also been not only physically but sexually abused as well. It's a big secret in Afghanistan. Have had guns put to them. Are they given the option just to off themselves with euthanasia? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And they've been through so much trauma, and a lot of them, rise above it. I'm not saying that they become better people for it, but listen, you don't have a choice. You get the cards you are dealt, and you can either play those cards and continue to work forward and move towards a goal, towards what you may perceive as happiness, or you can dwell in the past and you can continue to have the same problems you had before. So I want to read this girl's story. And I just do not know how her parents allowed this to happen. 17-year-old girl. 17-year-old girl who was raped as a young child and felt she could no longer go on living has been legally euthanized at home with the help of an end-of-life clinic. Noah Potovin died in a hospital bed in her living room after being granted the right to euthanasia in the Netherlands. The Dutch, that means not only that means that they had to work towards this for some time to get this done. Instead of work towards getting rid of this depression, giving her a better life. And she comes from a large family. This is the craziest thing ever. How is this happening? The Dutch teenager from Arnhem felt that life had become unbearable and she could no longer carry on after she was attacked, sexually assaulted on 3 separate occasions, beginning when she was just 11 years old. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know what it's like to be the victim of sexual abuse. Thank God that never happened to me or any of my close loved ones that I know about, at least. That is something that would weigh on me heavily. As many of you know, a lot of the work I do is exposing high-level abusers of children across the board in my videos, and I've thought about doing documentaries on a lot of different subjects surrounding that. It's hard to get those done. I haven't done a documentary, or at least released one, since 2013. That's some time ago. I'm hoping I'm not done with those days. But when I see stuff like this, and I think to myself, oh my God, we're allowing somebody to just give up on life. We're almost promoting it. And the slope is over. When you can euthanize kids that are not even able to really think for themselves, 17 years old, I would think even beyond 18, you should probably be about 21 to make that decision at least. And I'm not so sure giving people the right, because now the state can just decide, oh, maybe this person's mentally ill. Maybe we need to euthanize them down the line. Or, we already talked about how in 2014 they debated on and passed the legalization of the euthanization of children. This is a real thing going on in a first world nation. In Holland, children as young as 12 can be granted euthanasia if they desire. Or am I living in the fucking Twilight Zone? A 12-year-old can decide to take their own life and be granted that by the state? This is insanity. But only after a doctor concludes that the patient's suffering is unbearable with no clear end in sight. No clear end in sight. I got to pay my bills for the rest of my life. No clear end in sight. There are things that are going to happen to me that are going to be tough. No clear end in sight. I may wake up and have so much on my plate, I feel overwhelmed. No clear end in sight. But a doctor is going to make that decision about a kid as young as 12. And you notice the first one that we're seeing publicly is granted is a 17-year-old. See, they're going to whittle that down. The next one in the news will probably be 16 or 15 or 14. And then we'll get down to that 12-year-old. It'll become commonplace. And human value will go down even more. In 2017, some 6,585 people chose euthanasia to end their own life in the Netherlands. Think about how scary that is. About 4.4% of the total number of more than 150,000 registered deaths. Almost 5% of the deaths were government-sponsored euthanasia? Oh my God. I am repulsed. I am sickened. The practice is hotly debated but illegal in the UK, as it should be. But it's legal in some U.S. states, Canada, and Belgium. And we've talked about that. And, we were given Kevorkian as some kind of savior. And in my opinion, anything but that. And guys, again, let's take a look at this girl. How do we allow a girl as young as 17 that was sexually abused several times to take her own life? How did you do that, Mom, Dad? How did you allow this to happen? I can't get over it. I can't imagine ever giving up on my kids. I don't know about you guys. It's insanity to me. Guys, I'm doing a bunch of videos over here, If you're not subscribed, if you like real news, not a left or right perspective, if you like a deeper perspective, if you like going into government documents, if you like people being called out on their bullshit, that's what this channel's about. So make sure to subscribe, share this on social media, thumbs the video up, ring the bell, but make sure when you ring the bell, you ask for all notifications, and you get out there and do your own thing. Give people this information. Most people should be and are appalled when they hear about stuff like this, and it's becoming more and more mainstream. So once again, thank you guys all for tuning in.